Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of The Untold, where we're going to know more about our guest's journey in specific details. With that being said, today's guest is very special. She's one of our great colleagues, and we're going to know more about being a TV presenter from female side and perspective with our guest, Sara AlBaker. We're really happy to welcome with us in The Untold our guest and, of course, our colleague with us, our presenter, Sara AlBaker. Really happy to have you here.
I'm happy as well. Thank you for having me, my family, actually, KTB2, and my colleague, Hiba. Thank you so much.
So, of course, at the beginning, I'm very sure when it comes into the audience, they're very familiar with your great work and, of course, presentation when it comes into presenting yourself. But we want to know more about you, let's say, in the beginning, talking more about your background and talking more about your specialty as well. So, tell us, who is Sara AlBaker?
Who is Sara AlBaker? First of all, I'm a simple girl, actually. I'm a civil engineer. I studied civil engineer. Back in high school, actually, I was really admired. I considered to be a dentist, actually, at the beginning. But over the time, I shifted completely my thought into civil engineering because I was really actually considered and admired about that massive, let's say, structures all around us. You know, the bridges, the massive landscapes, skyscrapers all around me. So, and then I was asking myself, it's really impossible for let's say, a human being to build such a massive structure. And then I shifted myself into study the civil engineering. Then I applied to higher education, the Ministry of Higher Education, and I was really fortunate to be selected to study in the UK because I always admired the UK, let's say, culture, their accent, even education is really strong and intense.
Yes, indeed.
So I studied civil engineering like in 2010. And then I graduated in 2015 from University of Surrey in Guildford. This was, let's say, the shifting of my beginning of my life, let's say, after
Yeah.
graduation from high school.
Yes, I mean, talking more about your own passion, starting from the beginning as a, let's say, wanting to be a dentist and then going towards engineering. If you
Yes.
look at it in that way, I mean, even a dentist is kind of an engineer, but when it comes into building the teeth and structure. So
Exactly.
you didn't really went really far away, but you really expanded in that kind of, let's say, knowledge and that kind of, let's say, great profession as well. So people would say civil engineer is something very easy, the ones who could see it from, let's say, out of the picture as well. But when you go really and go really dive
Yes.
towards civil engineering, it's a very massive field, difficult, challenging. So many things could actually be in mind when it comes into the field as well. Tell us about how people do really consider civil engineering. Like, do they really see it as something really simple and you're just a person who's, let's say, building and structuring a building?
Well, actually, it's not simple at all, trust me, because I was really struggling while studying civil engineering. Engineering in general is really a harsh, let's say, subject. It's really, as you mentioned, when you would be deep into this subject, it's really complicated.
Right.
And it has a lot of responsibility once you be a really complete civil engineer, actually building a bridge or building an instructional actually structure or building a huge building. You should be completely aware about what are you doing. So it was really struggling. It was really a hard subject. But thank God I'm not a dentist now. I'm a civil engineer because I love
Yes.
being a civil engineer more than being a dentist.
Yes, yes. And the most important thing is always to listen towards your own passion and what you really want to be and inspire to be. And you really did manage to do that very great and well. But we
Thank
want to
you.
know more about the story of you being, let's say, and finding yourself towards media. Like, tell us about how was that? Like, what was the story behind it?
Well, it's a long story, Hiba, let's say. Well, after graduating, of course, I became to Kuwait, and then I involved with the Kuwait Society of Engineers to be just a member, like an engineer member. But my colleagues there in the Kuwait Society of Engineers, they encouraged me to be like involved in the voluntary work. So I became a volunteer in the Kuwait Society of Engineers. And through my involvement through Kuwait Society of Engineers, I invited to many TV interviews there. And in this time, actually, I something sparked in me.
Yes.
I found I really enjoy being in the studio, in the atmosphere, like watching the camera and presenting. And also my colleagues, all they say, and even my family and my friends, they say, "Oh, Sarah, you are really interesting and amazing while you are presenting on the TV." So I encouraged myself. I pushed myself, say, why not just be and give a try and like say involved into Ministry of Information. So since 2016, I was really free. I wasn't an employee back then after graduating, so I was only a volunteer in Kuwait Society of Engineers. So I applied to the Ministry of Information. I had too many courses, and I was really fortunate and privileged to meet too many, let's say, experienced and professional, let's say, presenters, really old professional, and they give me too many information, too many advices, too many skills, and I was really practicing for 4 years
Wow.
from 2016 until the early of 2020. I was really practicing and had too many courses, whether in radio or in the broadcasting or like a news anchor as well, how to stand, how to smile, how to present. It wasn't easy at the
Right.
beginning. It was really struggling. Because Hiba, my personality, I'm really quiet and shy girl. After like studying abroad, it really shifted my personality, but the media actually shifted that really completely. But after 2020, I became officially, let's say, a TV presenter.
Yes, I mean, I really do agree with your family and that support, because you do have this charismatic personality
Thank
when it
you.
comes into, let's say, presenting yourself, and even when it comes into also the audience who are familiar with you here at KTV2. I mean, it's a very beautiful way when it comes into presenting yourself, and also presenting all of, let's say, your ways and methods. I mean, it doesn't really show, as you just said and highlighted, being a shy person is very difficult for you to expound when it comes into, let's say, trying to explore,
Exactly.
and especially when it comes into media. I mean, shyness is something that you always have to keep it aside, because it's very important for you to have that kind of outgoing personality, which you
Exactly.
really master it very well.
Thank you, Hiba.
Having that said, tell us about that kind of challenge that faced you at the beginning, because you did highlight it. It wasn't easy, it was difficult, because
Yes.
you're building, again, going back towards engineering, you are building this personality, building this kind of, let's say, method, and that kind of character that you mastered to achieve it well.
Well, thank you, Hiba, for that. But yes, I faced too many challenges, too many struggles at the beginning, because it's really a complete, let's say, different world than mine. Like being, as I said, like an employee maybe, or like a
Right.
civil engineer, or just quiet like this, a volunteer, and then shifting to, let's say, exposed to the media. I had too many offers, too many opportunities back then to be in the TV shows or be a reporter, but I had a decision to decline all of these offers, because as I felt that it really doesn't reflect my personality. For
Right.
example, being a reporter, I don't like being a reporter, for example, or certain type of TV shows. I was waiting for, let's say, an important and, let's say, good, let's say, TV show until 2020, when one of my colleagues, he's a civil engineer as well. I knew him from Kuwait Society of Engineers. He's a tutor in the Kuwait University, and he says, why actually don't be, let's say, a presenter as a civil engineer, do a segment with the environmental awareness back then in 2020. I thought about that a long time, because, okay, I said it's really interesting.
Right.
Now I'm going to be a TV presenter and a civil engineer at the same time.
Right.
Because a part of our studies is about an environmental issue. So he said, why not to be like a presenter and about the awareness about the environment? So I applied to be a part of a show. It called back then Sunshine in 2020, and I presented, let's say, the environmental awareness segments, about 7 or 8 episodes. And then all the, let's say, the staff there, they said, wow, she's great. Why is she, why should it be with us in the studio? And also it was really another shifting. Back then, I actually accepted to be part of a Sunshine show, now rebranded to be a Good Morning Kuwait, which I'm still actually a main part of Good Morning Kuwait, is like a part of my life as well.
And it's really quite interesting because talking back about this show, I mean, it was one of the most important, let's say, programs to be highlighted and presented at KTV2. And to
Yes.
be part of such a great program, which remarks you being one of also the, let's say, first presenters to be there is something very great. Having that great journey with different kind of, let's say, presenters as well is something very remarkable. Tell us more about that kind of, let's say, responsibility because with such a great program, you know that it's one of the most, let's say, dominant and main program being hosted and
Yes.
presented, let's say, aired from KTV2.
Actually, it's a huge responsibility to be in a live stream in front of people. Sometimes we feel exhausted, we feel tired, we feel upset, but we have to smile in front of the camera. We have to manage our feelings in front of the guests as well. Some of the guests actually came a little bit shy, a little bit quiet, a little bit upset somehow,
Yeah,
some reason.
right.
But I managed to actually deal with them, calm them before actually the interview, and it's really challenging because I have to manage my own feelings and manage the let's say the guests' feelings, and I want to just make the episode really smoothly and fine until the end, even if I'm, let's say, tired or exhausted, for example.
Yeah, and it's not only about the guests, even your colleague, the one
Exactly.
who's aside you. I mean, it wouldn't be, let's say, that kind of energetic morning if you don't have that kind of great relationship with all of them. So it's very beautiful to have that kind of great bond and relation and
Yes.
to reflect it also to the audience as well. So, with that all of great experience that you managed to accomplish and to have it very well presented at the same time, tell us about that kind of, let's say, knowledge that you learned so far.
Well, the knowledge actually, being a live stream in the morning shows really can teach you too many things.
Right.
We face too many struggles, let's say, in the studio, but every situation can teach me, let's say, a lesson, for example. And as I mentioned before, being an officially TV presenter, I learned too many from the professional and experienced ones, like above me, like for example, Dr. Sulaiman Al-Asrousi, and many names actually. Maybe I will forget one of
Right.
them, but Dr. Sulaiman Al-Asrousi, I sent him warm greetings because he was one of the main, let's say, hosts in the Good Morning Kuwait. He taught me too many, let's say, from his experience and how to be confident. And even all the presenters who taught me how to be confident, how to be energetic, as you mentioned in the show, even though I have to raise away all my, let's say, normal life and put it on my back of my hand and then back of my back, let's say, and then I have to be a completely different person in
Right.
front of the camera. So it's really amazing. And Hiba, media actually opened too many doors, too many, let's say, opportunities that I've never imagined. For example, as I mentioned, it shifted my personality. It gave me more open to communicate with too many people. For example, have too many relations, how to improve my communication skills, how to be more confident, how to manage my, let's say, feelings, how to deal with other people with different personalities. So that's how actually media really taught me and raised my knowledge.
Yes, and it's very beautiful to hear about these great lessons that you managed to accomplish and learn. And of course, we're going to expand in our interview more and more in specific details about you, Sarah. But dear viewers, we're going to head to our first break and then we'll be back. And we're back, dear viewers, to continue with our guest, Sara AlBaker. So, one of the most important things today, if we're talking about working as a presenter, today we can see that media is playing a very great impact and trying to always be aside to what's always happening and trending, which is social media platform as well. Tell us
Yes.
more about how important it is to, let's say, present yourself as a presenter on TV and also taking social media aside to help and support that kind of field as well.
Well, me personally, actually, I admire privacy. I'm not really active in social media, but there is some people really confuse between being a really famous or active in social media that really equal to be a successful person
Right.
or successful TV presenter.
Right.
It's really a different aspects, different matter, being successful and being a famous. Imagine that you are a Hiba TV presenter and you have millions of followers in TikTok or Snapchat or wherever, but you are really not good in the presenting. Maybe someone really watching you on TV and sees, oh, she is really rude in the with her
Right.
guest, or she cannot ask this question and she cannot engage with the guest and so on. So what is the point? You have millions of followers in the social media while you are not a professional TV presenter. And also Hiba TV presenter really differ from being a social media influencer. Some people really confuse between them. TV presenter should be about passion, about professionalism, to be professional about your let's say your career, and you have to practice and learn every day. But being a social media influencer is completely different thing.
Right.
Social media is really important nowadays. I know that, to be well known for other people, but it's not our ambition to be more famous. And famous word is really doesn't really not accurate in these days. For example, maybe I'm following a certain people, they have as I mentioned million followers, but but you, Hiba, you don't know this person,
Right.
but he is famous or she is famous in my community, in my content, but she is not famous in your content.
Right.
We are not living, in the 80s or 90s anymore. People were having only one platform as a TV, for example, or maybe we were watching one series or one TV shows. In the second morning, all the Kuwaiti people were discussing about this TV series or TV shows or this TV presenter, for example. But now we have diverse of platforms, Snapchat, YouTube, and so on, millions of contents and persons. Maybe so famous. Let's say famous or being an active in social media is not important as being, let's say, a professional TV presenter.
Yes, indeed. And one of the most important things is to always emphasize and highlight is that when you're working as a presenter nowadays, you're not seeking fame, but you're seeking a kind of a way to be representative for many great families and members. Today, when we're talking about KTV2, it's one of the, let's say, popular family channel. I mean, everyone is really watching it. We can see
Yes.
the feedback from mothers today, parents who are really eager to have this kind of tradition on having KTV2 as their own, let's say, channel to be there. I mean, it has very great shows and it expands nowadays with many varieties of interest as well.
Exactly.
So having that is very important, and we're really lucky, to be honest, to have such a great, let's say, channel still being there and presenting
For
itself
sure.
for the audience as well. So one of the most important thing for a presenter is to always be in the point where they present themselves in very, let's say, specific shows and very important, let's say, moral shows that they see themselves in. I mean, you just said previously that in the beginnings there were some kind of, let's say, ways for you, or let's say
Offers and opportunities,
exactly,
yes.
that was for being a certain, let's say, programs, but you didn't feel that it fits you in a way until you found your own chance and the programs that represented you. How
Exactly.
important is to keep that kind of, let's say, moral methods within the presenters. I mean, today we have so many new presenters who wants to come to the channels, who wants to appear, and people will tell them, take any chance that's being there for you, just to present yourself on the screen.
Yes.
So how important is to always keep that kind of, let's say, moral idea of I want to present myself in the right way and in the right time.
Well, Hiba, it's very important to present your own self. Maybe I'm not seeing myself like as a news anchor or as a reporter. Maybe a new presenters, they want, as I mentioned, just take any chance. Maybe he will ruin actually his future. For
Right.
example, maybe
Right.
he cannot be, for example, or fit into the news anchor, for example. So he should wait until the chance comes to him or comes to her. While that, he should practice and learn more, and he will get what he wants or what
Yes.
she wants.
Yes, indeed. So, as a TV presenter, this opens many different aspects, as you just said and highlighted. One of the
Yes.
things that could, let's say, open for a TV presenter is to be a host and an MC for different kind of events and so. So, tell
Yes.
us about that kind of experience as well. Like, how well fortunate was your experience alongside the way?
Well, my first, let's say, being an MC, first, let's say, experience being an MC was in Kuwait Society of Engineers as well, back in 2018. It was my first time actually being presented in front of a lot of people, a lot of audience from different countries, because it was really international about health and safety, environmental awareness. So it was also bilingual. So I have to translate both in Arabic and English.
Yes.
It was really a huge responsibility back then. I remember it was really, I was thrilled. I was enthusiastic and excited. At the same time, I was really scared actually.
Yeah.
But it's really amazing to see all the audience are just focusing on me and listening, and especially the international, the foreign people are waiting for me to translate for them. So I felt really important there.
Yes, I mean, working as a TV presenter has its own responsibility.
Yes.
But even for an MC, it's also more bigger responsibility
Yes.
because it's a one-to-one interaction with the audience, which could actually affect even the representation. Let's say talking about how great and enthusiast that you can actually be, which is also, I'm very sure you actually, let's say, started to adjust with it with an experience and with time
Exactly.
as well. So lots of great things actually happen, let's say, back at the scenes when no one actually see it. And so many stories do actually happen when it comes into the presenter with a guest, with other colleagues and so on. So what are the things that keep always, let's say, into your mind when it comes into having these memories and moments alongside your journey?
Well, I have too many great memories with my colleagues, especially my second family in Good Morning Kuwait or so on. It's almost, let's say, mostly, let's say it's happy and funny, let's say memories,
Yes.
thankfully and thank God. But as I mentioned previously about one of the guests, some guests actually comes really upset or angry or shy. So I have to handle and manage their feelings. It was really, crucial back then.
Right.
But rather than that, it's really an amazing and funny moments.
Yes.
We respect each other, and
Yes.
mm,
Yeah, so working in the morning show needs more time.
Yes.
And you have to have that kind of, let's say, sense of routine where you sleep early, wake up early to have that kind of
Exactly.
energy. So tell us about that kind of experience that you actually face every morning when it comes into Good Morning Kuwait.
Well, it was at the beginning so challenging because I have my primary job
Right.
in the morning, and also I have to reschedule my whole sleeping schedule, and
Right.
also even all the responsibility I have in my personal life. It was challenging at the beginning, but I managed to maintain a healthy balance, to sleep early and then wake up. It's really a responsibility. I have to wake up very early to go to the morning show. And also, I managed to balance all my responsibility. And Hiba, also still now I have too many offers about different TV shows, but I cannot manage all of them because I
Right.
really admire my personal life. It's really to stay in the healthy balance in your life, to give more and more in your career.
Yes, indeed. So this is where the challenge phase, especially female presenters,
Yes.
the wardrobe, the closet, so many things. I mean, especially if you have different jobs, that means that you have different personalities. I mean, being an engineer needs an outfit, being a TV presenter in the morning needs different color outfits,
Exactly.
and then different shows alongside for it. So tell us about that kind of challenge. I mean, they always say a TV presenter, especially if she's a female, she has lots of clothes in her closet.
Exactly, Hiba, and you know that we have too many, uniform. As you mentioned, my primary job as an engineer, it has its own special, uniform. But in the morning show, my Good Morning Kuwait should be a bright and freshy colors.
Yes.
Whilst if I have another, let's say, formal conference, it should be a really formal, dress and suit. So we have to consider all of that, especially if you have too many shows in the week. So I have to consider and, have to combine all of the outfits, really struggling.
Yeah.
Yes, so what we can do. We love
Indeed.
this work.
Indeed. It's, I mean, a lot of great effort being presented, and even when it comes into the audience, they all appreciate that great effort that a presenter actually managed to present by the effort that she actually have, of course, during her time and
Yes.
during her, of course, program. With that being said, one of the challenges I'm very sure that faces a person is always to be on time, always to be there, precise, neat, prepared. So these are the things that people behind cameras and behind screens don't really see. They always think that the presenter comes, all the questions are really set,
I know.
and they're let's say just a mind set when it comes into that. But it's really difficult
It's
preparing.
really
So
difficult,
yeah, so
Hiba.
tell us about that.
Yeah, it needs actually more dedication, more discipline, resilience to be really a professional, not say professional, maybe successful TV presenter. As you mentioned, you have to be on time, you have to be prepared, you have to pull away all your, let's say, personal life and just focus on this moment about the TV show, about the guests and the content. So it's really harsh and difficult to shift your personality, actually.
Right, yeah. And especially when we're talking about personality, which let's say you highlight something very important, is that when it comes into formal programs, you have to have that kind of formal personality, while it's vice versa. If it's a program that needs to be, let's say, more as the Untold, more of, let's say, a talkative show, or let's say a
Yes.
talk show, it needs to have that kind of relaxed personality as well. So
Exactly.
people would consider this is very difficult to be able to shift and adjust with different kind of mood and with a different kind of guests and so on. So tell us about that kind of shift. Like, is it really difficult?
Well, it was difficult at the beginning, but I used to now, especially Good Morning Kuwait. Sometimes we have, let's say, a talented child, for example.
Right.
So I have to be more flexible, more fun, with him or with her. But if we have like an ambassador, for example, or a lawyer or a doctor, I have to be more formal, especially if in front of me, the guy in front of me is really strict and,
Right.
formal. I have to be formal with him.
Yes, yes, indeed.
So yes, it's shifting the personality. It's not much difficult. With the practicing, you can manage to do that.
Yes, yes, indeed. I mean, we really did enjoy having you here with us as a guest.
Me as well.
And we wish you all the best and success and many great programs to see you shining in them as well.
Thank you, Hiba. Thank you for having me.
And with that being said, dear viewers, we're going to head to our wrap up segment, so stay tuned with us. This is all what we have for you. Hopefully you really did enjoy watching us, learning more about our presenter Sara and her great journey and how she managed to present herself very well and reaching towards her great position. We wish her all the best and success. And with that, that was our episode. See you in different episodes of The Untold.